I want to begin by explaining what an RSS feed is to you. And the best way to do that is, let me begin with iGoogle. Now, if you're not familiar with iGoogle, it's very easy to set up. If you have a Google account, simply go to your browser and type in iGoogle. It'll bring you to a setup page to set up your iGoogle. Give you a big example is, let's look here. You see CNN.com, and you see these are links. These are articles that are on the CNN.com website. And for iGoogle, which is part of Google, to give me these links, it uses an RSS feed, which is syndication. So if you think of the old days with newspapers, and you have a writer who works, for instance, say for the New York Times, they write an article, but he also works for, or she works for, the LA Times, they would call that a syndicated columnist. In much the same way, that person transmits their story to both the New York Times and to the LA Times, and let's say you want both papers. Now, how do you do that? You simply contact them, they send you both papers. In today's world, you can create your own newspaper, if you weren't aware, with iGoogle, and you also have My Yahoo, which is not as used as much, but these are very, very important because Yahoo and Google are search engines. Now, there are other ways to read RSS feeds. We're not going to get a lot into that in this video, because what this is for particularly is what's called blog and ping. What we want to do is, obviously, as I said, these are stories that are on the CNN website. So that story got posted, and within a few minutes, that story is going to show up here as a link. Pretty amazing, right? How do we use that for what is called blog and pinging? So you have a story out there, you have either written text or you have a video out there, and it's in a blog or a website. Well, you want to syndicate that story. So you put it on a website or you put it in a blog that has an RSS feed available to it, and the end result is you then bring that RSS feed into iGoogle and My Yahoo. By doing so, when the search engine goes out to fill this block, okay, to get content, it literally has to go out there, look at what's on that site, and pull it back to create this little synopsis, this little highlighted top thing. That is blogging and pinging. It's actually going out there and it's pinging that website and pulling that information back to literally populate this page. That is what we want to do to get our content into search engines quicker and faster and more naturally. You see, you can go through the process of submitting your links and waiting a few months to get the search engine to come by and say, hey, look, here's content. You don't have to do that when you do blog and ping, because what happens is, literally within days, it's indexed into the search engine, and that is the power of this technique that I'm helping you understand to help you with SEO, as well as just getting your content into these two large search engines, obviously Google being the largest. Now, how do you add an RSS feed? How can you participate in that process? Well, if you create your own blog on blogger.com or wordpress.com, you can add that by simply going over here to add gadgets. When you add the gadget, go all the way down here to the bottom and you'll see it says add feed or gadget. I'm going to talk about that in a second, and you would put that URL. This is if you are going to a website that shows you the feed actually, okay? The other way is, now we're going to actually get in the process. We're going to go over here to Webbits by Tritella, which is a blog that I manage. I'm going to close that drop down so you see what the page looks like when you first come to it. And depending on the website, you're looking for either the word RSS or this little orange symbol that says posts or comments. Now, here's the cool thing. If you don't have a blog and you know of a popular blog that takes your comments, you can also help your comments Blog and Ping as well by going out to that search engine. Rather go out to that blog, post your content with the URL leading back to your website or video that you've shared, and then you can simply go to their blog and add comments, because then what happens is, again, it forces Google and Yahoo to populate the comments, which then gets your comment with your URL back to you. But in this case, where you've got the story, in this case is text, and if we look down here, there are some videos in this blog as well. And in this case, let's look at this article. Maryland Local is the article title, and in this case, I've created a URL where I've called it Bel Air, Maryland, which is a city in Maryland, and that basically has created a keyword. Basically, the search engine comes along this blog and it sees Bel Air, Maryland is associated with Maryland Stories, which is a WordPress site. And again, here on this WordPress site is down here in this column is enter RSS. Let me go back here to this one. So here's to get focused here, folks. So this is, you leave the page open, so your iGoogle is open. You go over here to Webits by Tritella, click down, and all you have to do is click Add to Google. In doing so, it will post it. That's simple. Let's go over here to my Yahoo. In very much the same way, if you'd clicked my Yahoo, okay, it's going to add, down here at the bottom, Webits by Tritella. Right down here are the major stories that are on that site. Now, let's say you have a site that is this way. You click here for RSS feed. Again, we're back to the WordPress version, and now you get this page. This is the RSS feed for this page. Now, how would you add this? Well, all you have to do is go up here to the top, marylandwordpress.com/feeds, and literally copy, go over to iGoogle, go to add a gadget, go add a URL, back up what's there, paste just like that, and hit add feed. When you add the feed, it literally will then create a block just like that. Give you another one. This is one of the websites, searchitlocal.com. In this case, it's under the tab Meta, and again, here's the RSS link. You would just click it, and again, it does the same thing. It takes you to the page. Generally speaking, that's how these RSS feeds work. The next logical question is, what about MSN or Live? Unfortunately, Live is discontinuing the mylive.com, so at this point I can't recommend to you a way to blog and ping for Live. However,